You are watching T Radio V, radio in TV.
Welcome back. Apparently, we have another segment that I wasn't aware of.
Yay.
So I thought we were going to have 3 segments, and it's actually 4 today. So we're going to have a freestyle conversation on sex and healing. And so that's kind of what we decided over the commercial. So Erica's got some stuff to say about, like, there was a time after her abuse that she actually didn't enjoy sex. So let's hear your story about that.
So sex is obviously a wonderful thing, and for me, for years, it was more of a, how can I make this guy happy so I can eventually get married one day? But then I think about that sex is way more than just procreation and making someone happy. You have to have that blissgasm, that mindgasm within yourself. And that starts with peace of mind. And there's a part that you mentioned where the girl just shuts down, she goes into a different neural pathway, and she's not present. For me, when I was sexually traumatized, I was literally like triggered by everything. I couldn't really relax. I was just like, I literally went to Disneyland in my head. And it shouldn't be like that. You should really enjoy all the sensations, the smell, the touch,
Right.
the breath.
And some people might not even be aware that they have an issue around it until someone actually makes them aware of it. And the reason I say that is I had issues with intimacy in terms of being verbal about what worked for me, or like even like making noises. I was kind of very silent until one time I had a lover who said, "You don't really say anything. Like, I don't know what to do if you're not like telling me what to do." And so that was like an awakening for me, and I very much appreciate him saying that to me, because then it made me aware that maybe I need to have a conversation with a partner about what to do and not do to make me feel good, because like they're not going to be able to read my mind. Maybe they, everyone's different and has different likes and touches and whatever that works for them, but unless you tell your partner, they're not going to know. So speak up.
Well, that's true. And it goes beyond just verbal feedback in the act of making love. I mean, if you're being quiet, that means you're shutting down your throat chakra,
Exactly.
which means those pleasure signals can't get past it.
Right.
So how do you keep something from escaping? You close it down, right? You tighten down on it, right? So how do you allow orgasm to occur? As you relax, you surrender, you let it flow through your whole body. So those two concepts are at opposite ends. And then we had also mentioned earlier about mantras, the Sanskrit words that when you go back to that Z meditation, that particular term felt really great for you when you're singing it, right? Well, that's the whole concept of the Sanskrit language, is to sing a chant that vibrates your body in such a way that you can feel into every part of your body. And if you're used to having that practice and you find a part of your body that isn't responding, then that's an early warning sign. Hey, I've got a little something I need to exercise out, right? And ultimately, then when you come back to the concept of sex, the more of your body that's open, the more of your neural pathways that are connected, like the stimulation in the genital or any other erogenous zone that goes up to the brain, if it makes it all the way up there, then it can jump across to other neurons that go, hey, I want more of that, and you get this cybernetic loop going. And that's how you get this. People hear tantric sex all the time, and people usually associate that with being something off the charts and really crazy, and
There's all different kinds of tantra.
Well, yeah, but the reason why it has that reputation is because when you've done this practice long enough, you get open enough to where you can actually feel your entire body vibrating with the orgasm. It's not isolated to a specific body part, and now it permeates your entire being. And the deeper and deeper you get to it, now you start getting into that place where your energy, which is outside of your body, is merging with the energy of your lover, and now both of you guys create a cybernetic loop, and that's when you start reaching the higher levels, and then in comes the term sacred sexuality.
And it also depends on the partner you're with. I mean, for me, I extremely appreciate a very patient, loving, affectionate partner, someone who makes me feel comfortable. Because if you're with someone who's rushing you, or just seriously doesn't give a crap about your pleasure,
Or doesn't have the skill to last long enough.
or that, that's a serious problem, unfortunately. And sometimes it's not really the guy's fault, but
No,
maybe
most
they have
guys,
issues.
most guys still have sex the way they learned about sex, which is when they were 13 years old.
Or porno.
Exactly.
Porn.
Or behind a closed door, get it over quick before the parents come in and catch you, right? So the inset mentality is sex should be fast. Whereas,
Like instant gratification, like drive-in, in and out.
Yeah.
Right.
And I wanted to add that one of the best tools I learned, because I went to Intimacy Fest, and I had this friend, Reed Mihalko, and his whole thing is Sex Speak. And he teaches the safe sex elevator speech, which has taught me so much about sex, which you talk about your likes, your dislikes right in the beginning. Communication is key, so you don't have the hamsters, the thought forms in the back of your mind when you're having sex, because if you're having sex and you're like, oh my God, he should do this, I want him to do this, and you don't say it. So the way it works is you say, I want to talk about like everything from STDs to condoms, no condoms. Are we open? Are we primary? And
mean exclusive?
Exclusive.
Like
Like,
with-
where's this going? Is this just playful? Just say your intentions right off the bat. What are my boundaries? What are my no's? What are my yeses? And then as soon as you do that, you can really go full out and really like let loose and control. Like you set the parameters for the playground. So that way when you're there in action, you really feel yourself. You're not like hiding anything, because that's going to show up in your tension and the way you want to let go with your orgasm. And so that has helped me so much, that little safe sex elevator speech.
it's really
Yeah.
true. And what that does is it establishes a level of trust between you and your lover. And trust is such a fundamental piece to intimacy. And that's, like you were talking earlier, Mandy, about your relationship to your dad. And even though it wasn't sexual abuse, it still affected your ability to trust men. And that's why you called in men who are not trustworthy, who didn't know how to cherish you. So, one of the key teachings in the Source School of Tantra that we'll be talking about this coming weekend is how do you establish that trust, and what does it mean to hold space for somebody no matter what they're going through. Like the initial conversation, this is what the boundaries are for what we're going to be doing, but then also holding to it when you're actually in the act. And that can be really, takes a lot of practice.
Takes a lot of healing work, and you have to take that initiative for yourself. Like go to classes, do meditations on YouTube. But that's something I've actually been doing a lot more of. Almost every day I've been doing a little bit of meditation, and I'll find one on YouTube, and I'm getting to healing myself, and especially my heart. My heart has really got some blockages to it because of past heartbreak and trauma and feeling hurt by people and just being so confused, not understanding like why I was left, or like when, and so it's like I have literally like lumps and blockages in my heart chakra, and then the different nerve endings that relate to the heart. Like even in my face reflexology, like the areas that relate to the heart have lumps on them, and I just recently found, and so it's like I'm working on it.
Yeah, that's beautiful that you have that recognition. And just as we were talking earlier about the throat chakra being closed down, the heart chakra is the main way a woman projects her love into the world, right? And so, in a healing session, what we would do in this work is we would establish a safe space. We would work on the sexual energy to come up almost like a laser to pierce through the heart, so that it can melt away some of those blockages. And ultimately, the goal is when that's fully clear, sex, we were talking earlier about being an in and out, very quick, friction-based thing. Ultimately, you want sex to be a meditation. So take all this great stuff that you're doing about meditation in your solo practice, and then when you find a lover who is capable of holding that same level of intentionality in the act of love, and it becomes a meditation, especially when you have the skills to make it last for hours on end, spend all Sunday day in an act of lovemaking meditation, and that'll open your heart.
Someday, that'd be great.
Well, if anybody wants to talk about that kind of thing, I'd also do private work. I also do counseling. So
How do people reach you? Your website?
Yeah, tantra-arts.com.
Yeah, reach out to Koa for advice. He can give really great healing advice. And how can people reach you?
Go to sexysoulmatrix.com.
Okay.
You could also find me on Snapchat the same way, and Instagram, social media. And for me, I just feel so much joy when people reach out to me, and I'm with all these strong women that are broken down, and I would teach them EFT, emotional freedom technique, tapping, breathing, just like little pieces of homework, because I don't want them to feel pain. And when you've experienced that, you want everyone to experience that healing. Everyone has different approaches, so I'm excited to.
I feel very blessed that I had you two on the show. I think it went perfectly for the topic, and you know that we can kind of bounce off each other and share, like, you know, with others, like what's going on, like what, take the layers off the illusion, and you know, people are hurting and suffering on the inside no matter what they're projecting on their Facebook and their Instagram. Like there's, you know, you might feel damaged, and it's about fixing and healing and mending and clearing, and so that's what this show is about, you know, like shedding light on some stuff and helping and healing others. So thank you guys.
Thank
And
you.
great show today. Make sure you tune in next week, 1 o'clock, for some more awesomeness. So thank you.
LA Street Angel.
You are watching T Radio V, Radio and TV.